G'day guys, how are we doing? Welcome to the review. I'll just fix my microphone there of Tyson Fury failing in his attempt to recapture the heavyweight title from Alexander Usyk. Usyk winning a unanimous decision, all three scorecards, 116 to 112. Now I think the main obstacle we had today was the TYSON app, the streaming. Now I had all sorts of dramas for a couple of rounds. I had to switch from my phone to just watching on the PC. And the thing is, when you're doing a live watch along, the last thing you want to do, of course, is to lose the actual stream. So I think it was rounds 4 and 5 that were a little bit touch and go. Luckily, I had a few of the people watching who were updating me what's going on. But I must admit, the rounds 4 and 5, I didn't really see a lot. I think I ended up giving one round to each anyway, and I don't think it played a big factor in the final decision on my card anyway. But from all accounts, the round, as I said, I gave one round to each, and I think that evened things up. But I had the final decision was 115, 113 on my card. But we'll get into the whole fight in a sec. We'll start with the undercard. And look, I saw the last, 4 fights, I think it was. I've been pretty vocal about the fact that I didn't think it was a great card to start with, apart from obviously the main event. I just thought it lacked a lot in comparison to a lot of other shows that we've seen from Turkey LL Sheik. I'm not quite sure the reasoning behind it, but there were no actual standouts on the card. And if you look at the February 22nd card that is just stacked from top to bottom, I don't understand why they couldn't at least get 1 or 2 really good fights on the undercard. But it is what it is. The fights that I saw were Dave Allen and Johnny Fisher. Really good fight. A lot of people saying that they thought Dave Allen might have won. I still think that Johnny Fisher did enough just to get the win. And you've got to remember, those really close rounds are going to go one way, and that's to the house fighter, and that was Johnny Fisher. So I thought he just did enough, although I'm not going to argue with those that said Dave Allen won. I just think in the context of things, if you've been around boxing, you know the way it works. There's a fighter that's supposed to win, and that was Johnny Fisher. And as I said, I thought he actually did enough anyway. I think I had it 6 rounds to 4 for, was it a 10 rounder? Yeah, 6 rounds to 4 for Johnny Fisher. But a great fight to start my telecast anyway. I know a lot of you were out or were up a lot earlier than that. I would have been up if the card was a lot better. I'm sure in February I'll be up a lot earlier, but I just didn't see the sense to get up. I was really just interested in the Bohachuk fight, the Demsey McKean fight that, didn't end too well for him. But into the second fight, which was that the fight? Was that the Bohachuk fight? I think it was. Sergei Bohachuk and Ismail Davis. Look, it started off really well. I thought Ismail Davis came to fight. He actually looked good for probably the first round and a half. And then Bohachuk sort of sprung into action, dropped him, I think, in the third, finished him off at the end of the fifth. And look, I thought it was a really good stoppage. I'm not quite sure whether Davis called it a day or his corner called it a day. I'm not quite sure. But either way, I think it was a good stoppage. I think Bohachuk's such a dominating type of fighter. Just keeps coming at you. And even if he's not throwing a lot of punches, he's right there. And he'll make you punch. And he likes to retaliate, a little bit like Triple G used to do as well. And, yeah, really impressive performance from Bohachuk. Ismail Davis, look, he took the fight on a late night notice. I'm not quite sure what if we seen what he had to offer. He was coming off a loss to Josh Kelly too as well. So, look, just a good workmanlike performance from Sergei Bohachuk, and I think we mentioned during the telecast it'd be great to see him fight someone like a Madrimov. I know Madrimov's got Ortiz coming up. Sorry, not Madrimov, Murtazalyov. That would be a ripper. And I did say during the telecast I would love to see Bohachuk and Madrimov more than I would actually like to see Madrimov and Ortiz. A lot of syllables in there to get your head around, isn't there? But so yeah, look, good performance from him again. And then of course the co-main event that wasn't great for us Aussie fans. Demsey McKean was knocked out in the first round by Moses Otama. Look, he started okay. I mean, we're only talking about the first round here, aren't we? But he started okay. Had that nice high guard, and I actually said during the broadcast that I thought it was actually not a bad thing just to let Otama know that he's not not going to be intimidated, and he's there to fight. And I think about 10 seconds later, he got nailed with that big overhand left, and really hard to recover. He got hit on the back of the head, and the equilibrium and all that would have been all over the place, and you could tell he was shook up. And I think as soon as he hit the deck, I think I might have commented, I think that, well, that's it, the fight's over. Even if he gets up, he's not going to recover from that, and he didn't. And Otama just all over him and landed. The next left hand was like perfectly placed punch right on the temple, and that was curtains. And I think it was Lincoln Hudson threw in the towel. So look, you got to give credit to fighters like Demsey McKean. They go over there, they give it their all, they take the big challenges. He was the B side, make no mistake about that. But you can only, as I say, dare to be great, and I thought he did that. And just like, was it last month, I think Joel Kamakeo went over to, actually might have been earlier this month, went to Dubai and got stopped as well. And, a lot of people like to lay the boots in, but I just take my hat off to these guys, because I know it wasn't great to be knocked out in the first round, but geez, you've got to be in it to win it. And he did that. I'm not quite sure what happens to Demsey going forward. I don't think he'll ever get a chance at that level again, if I'm being honest. And look, he might decide that might actually be enough. I mean, if you're not going to be at the top level, then why be at the level at all? If the money here is not great in Australia, there's not a lot of options apart from maybe a Justice Honey. So what do you do? And if he's got a family and all that sort of stuff, maybe he just gives it away. And he would have been paid quite well for this fight. So, look, whatever happens, credit to Demsey again for taking the fight, and all the best to him in the future. But I think it's pretty obvious that maybe, Demsey's not quite at that level. And maybe at his age and state of his progress, I suppose, he's not going to get there anytime soon, is he? So, but no matter what happens, all the best to him in the future. On to the main event, and one thing I'm very thankful for is that they finally got the flow of the shows going a lot better, including the main event. The fact that Demsey's fight with Otama ended so early, I thought we might be sitting there for an hour or something, whatever it was, but it was probably about 30 minutes, and they had the guys out. I thought it was fantastic. And as I said, the flow was a lot better. Really great to see Tyson Fury come out in the Christmas gear. He had Mariah Carey playing in the background, which was great. And it looked in good spirit. Of course, he had the beard. I think the only thing he could have done was maybe dye it grey. But anyway, make him look like Santa Claus. But anyway, I thought he looked really good coming into the ring. Alexander Usyk, same thing. He looked super focused, super confident. And you could just really get the impression that we're going to get a great fight. If I'm being honest, the fight itself didn't live up to what I thought it would be, and I don't think it was as good a fight as the first one. But we'll get into the fight itself. I thought that the way Tyson Fury started, I thought he started probably the way I thought he would. Straight out of the block, straight in the center ring, looking to push Alexander Usyk back, really try and enforce himself on Usyk and really take charge of the fight. The one thing he didn't count on, though, is that Alexander Usyk said, well, if you want to go, I'm ready to go. And he would have known, obviously he would have known the weigh-in limit, the weigh-in weight. That Tyson Fury weight was 281, a lot heavier than in the first fight. So the plan was obviously from him was to try and bully Alexander Usyk. Well, Alexander Usyk has looked at it and said, okay, well, I'm going to go down the other way, and I'm going to actually make you work 3 minutes of every round, and let's see if you can carry that bulk for the whole fight. And I was really impressed by the way Usyk started. And I must admit, I had a little bit of a feeling that this is going to be a tough night. If this is the way the fight's going to start, I think it's going to be a tough night for Fury, because I expected Tyson to dominate the first 3 or 4 rounds and then maybe Usyk to come back, and then it was going to be anyone's fight later in the fight, but it just didn't turn out that way. I was really surprised the commentators had Tyson Fury, I think, winning the first 3 rounds. I gave Alexander Usyk 2 of the first 3. I thought he was very effective. I thought Tyson was throwing out the jab, but not really being overly effective. He was missing a lot of punches. I thought Usyk was really countering well, moving well. I thought his work rate was high. And as I said, I gave him 2 of the first 3 rounds. And that's when the 4th and 5th round kicked in. And as I said at the start, I gave both guys 1 round each just to even it up, because all the rounds were so close anyway. So I don't think, again, it affected too much. But into round number 6, I thought, again, Usyk started to take control. I thought he won rounds 6, 7, it might have been 8. It might have been 1 Fury round in there. But I think after 8 rounds, I had it 5 rounds to 3 for Alexander Usyk. And I remember commenting that if Tyson Fury doesn't pick up the pace here and start winning at least one of these next 2 or 3 rounds, it's going to be a long way back. And I think he tried. I really do. I think he really tried to dig himself out. But I think he went too hard too early. The plan almost backfired to a certain extent. The fact that he couldn't bank a lot of those rounds early, the fact he couldn't lean on Usyk and really take a lot of the sting out of him, I think it really affected Tyson in those sort of 7, 8, 9th rounds, I think. And in that time, I think Usyk was busy. He was winning the rounds. And again, I think after 10 rounds, I think I might have given Tyson round number 9. I can't remember. I'll have to go over my card. But I had it 6 rounds to 4 after 10. And then I gave Alexander Usyk round number 11. And then, look, the last round was really, really close. I thought Tyson tried really hard, but I do think Usyk also went with him and gave as good as he got. And I did, again, as I said, gave the round to Fury, but I had the final score 7 rounds to 5, 115 to 113. But again, what I thought was so many close rounds. Then the official judging was announced by Michael Buffer, who I thought was disappointing. Again, I said that in the watch-along. I think it might be time for Michael Buffer to give it away. He's just lost his zip, I think, and lost his zest. And when he said the scorecards, 116, 112, all 3 judges scored it the same, so 8 rounds to 4, which I think is on about the money. Again, I did give Tyson Fury maybe a round or 2 that maybe I was a little bit generous. But still had it 7 rounds to 5 for Usyk. So 8 rounds to 4 did not surprise me. And I'm really glad that we didn't get any controversy because Alexander Usyk deserved to win this fight. So again, with Michael Buffer, instead of saying the winner and still, it was the winner and still undefeated. I mean, a real letdown in the way he announced it. So I just think Michael Buffer, it's time to say goodbye. And there's plenty of other good announcers coming through. So he's been one of the greats, but time to give it away, Michael. He probably makes $1 million a show, so I'm sure he'll be financially okay. But look, afterwards, I thought Alexander Usyk spoke very, very well, very complimentary towards Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, whether or not he just didn't want to hang around or whatever, but he left the ring. He wasn't interviewed. I'm sure they'll get him in the social media afterwards. I was really keen to actually hear what Tyson Fury had to say because he was, by the looks of things, very confident that he'd won the fight. He got down on his knees. He crossed himself. He looked at the heavens. He raised the arms. He was very confident. But I just don't think he did enough to win. And maybe he thought that deep down inside himself and just didn't want to let the world just see. I don't know. I mean, after every fight, of course, every fighter shows that they've won. But I just think Alexander Usyk, he was so good with his interviews. Again, gave Tyson Fury his props. He was asked about the Daniel Dubois fight, whether he would fight him a second time. He said he would. I think, what did he say? I can more or something like that. It was pretty funny. But I don't know. For one, I don't think he owes Daniel Dubois anything. And I think he's so well off. Does he really need to fight again? I think he will. I think all roads point to a Daniel Dubois rematch, and I get that. He's got to get past Joseph Parker first, by the way, which will not be easy. But just in my opinion, he's fought Dubois, he's fought Joshua twice, Fury twice, 5-0 against the 3 best heavyweights in the world besides him. So it's purely just got to be, look, maybe he just loves fighting too much and doesn't want to give it away, but it can't be a monetary thing. And who would think that if he beats Dubois again, it could be 2-0 against Dubois, Fury, and Joshua. Just amazing. And the question has to be raised, where does this place him in the scheme of things in world heavyweight boxing? I think it's definitely got to have him in the top 10 of the pound-for-pound top heavyweights of all time. Without a doubt, he's beaten the 2 best heavyweights of his era twice. Has been the undisputed champion at 2 weight divisions. If anyone deserves a spot in the top 10, it is this guy. And I know a lot of people will go back and forth about it, but I know as you get, or once you get past your career, you sort of get better the longer you're out of the sport, I suppose, and people reflect on your achievements more. And I think he's going to be one of those fighters that people look back and go, geez, how good was this guy? To beat Fury twice, to beat Joshua twice, to possibly beat Dubois twice. and also the Cruiserweight title. Full props to Alexander Usyk. Definitely one of the greats. And I'm going to say it, I'm going to put him at number either 1 or 2 in the pound-for-pound rankings. I would probably put him at number 2. I'd still have Naoya in a way at number 1. I know you could throw him in the air, and no matter how they fall, it could be the order. But I think he's gone past Terence Crawford. Based on Terence's last performance, I would have Alexander Usyk definitely ahead of Terence Crawford in the pound-for-pound, and arguably ahead of Naoya in a way. But as I said, I've still got Naoya at number 1 at the moment. But geez, who cares about that? Who cares about the mythical top 10 pound-for-pound? It doesn't matter. This guy is an all-time great, and it's just great to have him right here and now. I'm just a little bit disappointed. There's not really much else for him because he's got so much more to offer. But yeah, just conducts himself so well, and the Ukrainian people love him. And let's hope it's put a little bit better mood on the country that's obviously had their problems in the last couple of years. So for Tyson Fury, I'm not quite sure where he goes. The only direction I can see him going is the AJ direction. I think the fact that both fighters' careers are pretty much on the rocks at the moment. I think they've both seen their best days. They both had back-to-back losses to Usyk, and Joshua, of course, also with that loss to Dubois. I don't want to see Tyson Fury become a bit of a punching bag for the up-and-comers. So as strange as it does sound, the fight that makes sense for both these guys is to fight each other and then call it a day. Or maybe have a trilogy, whatever it might be. But I know it does sound strange in the context of things of where these two guys have been over the last few years in their careers, but that fight makes more sense than ever, as silly as that sounds. The Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua fight makes more sense now than ever, and I've got a feeling that will be what we'll see maybe this time next year. I wouldn't be surprised if both fighters take up to a year off, and maybe October, November, or maybe even December next year, we see Tyson Fury, AJ, and maybe they do just a little in-house type of thing between them. Whoever wins the fight, there will be a rematch. We know that. They'll both probably make $100 million each in both of those fights, and then who knows, with the way things work, they have a win each, and then we have a trilogy. But I just think that is the fight for both guys. Tyson Fury's never going to beat Usyk. Anthony Joshua's never going to beat Usyk. And he probably doesn't beat Dubois in the rematch either. So why not fight each other? I still think the public would buy it, especially the UK public. And I reckon it would still be the biggest all-English fight, of all time. So why not just do it while you still can? I think they're both in their mid-30s, whatever it might be, mid to late 30s. Fight 3 times, earn probably $300 million each, and then sail off in the sunset and be done with it. So whatever happens, I'm sure that we haven't seen the last of Tyson Fury, or, of course, AJ as well. So, guys, look, I hope you enjoyed the fight. How did you have it? Again, I had it 115, 113 for Alexander Usyk. The one thing I will say, I don't think, no matter how you look at it, you can make an argument that Tyson Fury actually won this fight. The first one, maybe. Definitely not this one. I think Alexander Usyk showed that he's the better fighter, and got the job done. So, again, put in the chat or the comments below who you thought won, what's next for both these guys, what would you like to see, and we will see for all concerned. So, guys, that will do it for the review, and we'll catch you next time.